All right. Welcome to our web clinic on get on the starting your first 20 minutes of practice off on the right foot and why it can be the most valuable 20 minutes of your practice and also really how to make it so. This is actually a recorded web clinic today, and the reason for that is that we just recently got a little lab puppy, and he makes recording things kind of difficult because he doesn't quite understand quiet time. Like I can get my daughter and my wife to kind of stay out of the room and let me do some recordings, whether it's a podcast or if I'm doing a live web clinic or something like that. He does not quite understand that, so he barks quite a bit, and so I decided it'd be best if I recorded this one. That way, if he has a barking fit or something like that, I can just edit it out. So what we're going to do in this web clinic today, let me get, I'm going to set up my, get my PowerPoint slide here up and going. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so I've got my PowerPoint slides here up and rolling, and we can go ahead and get started then. So today's web clinic is on maximizing the first 20 minutes of your practice and why I think that they are, why it is a particularly important time to take advantage of, and how I used to certainly not take total advantage of that. A quick little introduction for those of you who are new. I am Coach Kyle Nelson. I'm a high school baseball coach outside of Chicago, and I run Cornerstone Coaching Academy, which the goal of Cornerstone Coaching Academy is to help youth travel and high school coaches bring player development into a team setting. There's a lot of incredible things being done right now in the world of player development in the private setting, in the private sector, when you can work one-on-one, one-on-four with players, when budgets are a little bit higher. But it's really difficult to bring some of these things and concepts into a team setting with a lot of the challenges that go on there. So that's really the goal of Cornerstone. I have a couple different ways that I do that. Number one certainly is web clinics like these, which I will be running more often. And like I said before, I'm going to try to do more of them live once we get this little puppy trained, and he stops barking so much. Then I will certainly be okay with doing them live a little bit more. Um, Also, you can find our podcast. So another way that we try to reach out is through our podcast. It's on iTunes, it's on Stitcher, it's on Spotify, it's on Google Play. You can search for Cornerstone Coaching Academy podcast. Every week, I come out with a 15 to 20-minute episode, something really actionable that you can take with you and put it into play at your next practice. That's really my goal through the podcast. Give you something small, very digestible. You listen to it on your way to work, listen to it on your walk in the morning, your workout, something like that, something that you can put into play immediately with your team or with your program right away. Also, we have Cornerstone Elite. Cornerstone Elite is our private membership, and it's where I have all my drills, all my practice plans, all my programs that show you step by step how to take your team to the next level. Whether you want to have players with improved bat speed, we have a bat speed program in there. Whether you have players that have difficulty making decisions at the plate, whether you need an arm care program, everything that you need to run a youth or amateur team is in Cornerstone Elite. And I'm also in there answering questions. We have forums answering questions in there, emails from Cornerstone Elite members, as well as our monthly Q&As. So stick around to the end. We have a special offer for you today for listening to this web clinic, on how we can join Cornerstone Elite and save you a little bit of money. Since this is not live, the web, we're going to go do something a little different with the Q&A. Normally I'd have a Q&A section set up. I'm leaving a link to an email down below a form down below. If you have any questions throughout the web clinic, just about specifically about practice planning or the first 20 minutes of practice, or if you want to see how it might work with your setup, you can submit them to me. While this web clinic is up and running, I will be monitoring my email. So it'll actually be during the Bears game on Thursday when it's up and running. So I'll be monitoring my email, and you can submit questions during that time. Then I'll probably do another recording with the answers to those questions. So you can ask anything about practice planning, anything about the first 20 minutes of practice, or what is in and involved in Cornerstone Elite. If you have questions about that, I will certainly answer those as well. We do have 2 special gifts for you at the end. So make sure that you stick around till the end. One of them is going to be a video showing you exactly how we do our throwing program with infielders, and the other one is going to be a surprise for you. All right, so a little bit about my past and how I got into what I'm doing here. 2011 was kind of when all this started. We had a really great team in 2011. We played some of the biggest schools 3 times our size, and in the last 3 games leading into the playoffs, we knocked off 3 really big schools, scored like 56 runs in those 3 games. And then we go into the playoffs and we get 1 hit shutout by a sophomore with almost no varsity experience in the first round. And I took it hard. I looked at it as, we had failed that year because I thought that year we had a really reasonable chance to at least not if win a state title, maybe at least make it to the Final 8 or Final 4 with the quality of team that we had that year. And so it was about July when I was actually mowing my lawn, and I was still thinking about that loss, and I was still down about it, and I was still, we had gone through summer ball already, and I was still like really upset about that loss. And that I kind of stopped the lawnmower. I'll never forget this. And I just thought, I cannot continue on this way with coaching because I'm taking the losses too hard. I'm like riding a roller coaster. I was too high. I was too low. Too high when we won, too low when we lost. Like, I cannot continue on this way. It's affecting other parts of my life. So something has to give. So at that point, I made myself 2 promises. The first one was something on the field. I said, I'm going to try to find the very best way I can to prepare my team every single day. Not that I hadn't really done that in the past, but I think what I had done up to that point was kind of the status quo. I've always done this, so I'm going to continue to do it. This is, that sort of thing, right? And what I did at that point was I said, look, I'm going to continually be looking for a better way. And that was part of how I started Cornerstone, why I started Cornerstone, because it was a lot for me too, to try to figure out, organize my thoughts, make myself research things, and make myself have to actively try to get better and develop myself professionally. And the second thing I promised myself was that I was going to focus more on the process than the outcome. And when I took a look back at that year, even as I look back at it now, and what those players did throughout that season, how much better they became, it was an incredibly successful season, even though the end result was not what we wanted it to be. So that to me should have been a success, and I viewed it as a total failure. Up until that moment when I was mowing my lawn, and it was like, hey, I can't continue like this. I can't ride this roller coaster. And so I ended up getting then, in 2012, I started a master's in coaching education, which opened my eyes to a ton. It wasn't baseball specific, it was coaching specific, which opened my eyes to a ton of different information, of different resources. And so that's where this whole first 20 minutes of practice really started, was through my master's in coaching there, but also through those promises I made to focus more on the process than the outcome, which is what this is all about running quality practices and making sure that you're prepared on a daily basis. That is really all about focusing on the process more so than the outcome, looking to find a better way, looking to improve things. So as we go through the rest of this web clinic, I expect there's things that you already do in your practices that you're going to really enjoy and you may not want to change, and it's perfectly good, but hopefully I can give you some ideas of things that you might change to improve. And that's really what this is all about. So that's really where my journey into more player development, less focus on outcomes. I still love winning. I still hate losing. And I still do get upset when we lose or don't play well. But to me now, it's more about the journey and about improvement than it is necessarily an outcome. So the first 20 minutes of practice are really important. They are going to set your tone for the entire day. And not only are the first 20 minutes of practice important, but also keep in mind that practices are really the backbone of any organization, they're the backbone of any program, they're the backbone of any team. And what you do in there is going to dictate specifically how your team performs in game, how they act, how they behave, that sort of thing. We don't want to waste any time. Another change I made was I became incredibly respectful of our players and assistant coaches' time. Up to that point, I might be the guy who had up to that point, I would be the guy who said, "Oh, practice will be 2 hours," and then 3 hours later, we're still at practice. I'm no longer that guy. Practices are 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes, and they're done at that point. And I make sure, because we don't waste time, we don't do extra things that I see as unnecessary. Everything that we're doing in our practice, including these first 20 minutes, has a really, really important role in our practice for that day or in our games going forward. So everything we do has a purpose, including these first 20 minutes. There is no wasted time, nothing we're going to do that we don't know why we're doing it. So the first one is our first 2 minutes. And what we're going to do in our first 2 minutes is we are going to warm up with a baseball. We used to do the jog to the center field, fence and back, or run 2 poles to get the heart rate up, which getting the heart rate up should absolutely be a goal. However, we're going to do that in some kind of a small drill. So I'm going to give you some examples here of what we use. It depends on the day, depends on the segment. We have different coaches running different things during this time. One thing we do is a really basic 4-corner flip drill. Especially with our infielders, this helps them get ready for any infield, first baseman flipping to pitcher, double play feeds. We go both directions on that one. We'll also do rundowns at about 50-60% speed, just going through the mechanics of the rundown, so that they get the throw, they get the catch while they're on the run, they learn which sides to peel off of. There's no runner here. We're just going through the mechanics of the rundown. A lot of times our outfielders will be doing a light quarterback drill, so they're working on catching the ball on the run, or they might have a little defender there with them, alongside of them, just working on catching the ball with some interference. A 3-ball infield drill is one that we do. Also, you set up 3 balls, 1 to the left, 1 to the middle, 1 to the right. Really short lines, 2 to 3 athletes in each line. Here we're working on our prep steps. So I'll say ready. They do their prep step. Then I'll announce a number, 1, 2, or 3. They'll work on their path to the ball. They'll work on their fielding position. They don't actually touch the ball. And then they jog to the back of the line. So they're working on something little here just to try to get their heart rate up while they're improving something. We also give them a 4th ball sometimes that's a backhand ball. Pitchers with our pitching coach will a lot of times be fielding bunts with no throw. So they'll start near the mound, give a fake throw, pitching coach rolls a bunt, and they're just working on fielding the bunt, getting their footwork set to first base. Obviously, there's no throw there. Pitchers are also working sometimes on covering first base. So what you can see here is that we've got a whole lot of things in just those first 2 minutes of practice. We have worked on flips for double plays, flips for first baseman to pitchers. We've got rundowns. We've got catching on the run. We've got catching on the run with interference. We've got paths to the ball, fielding position, pitchers fielding bunts, and then pitchers covering first. And we were able to do all of that in the first 2 minutes of practice. Now, we don't get all these done every single day, but as you rotate through them, you're getting them done every single week. We actually also do these pre-game. So that's our very first thing we do, first 2 minutes. And depending on the day, it's a cold day, sometimes it's a little more. It's a warm day, sometimes it's a little less. We're on the road, we're strapped for time, it's a little less. But that is something that we have it's been a staple of our program. And you can come up with your own, right? Like, what can they do, not necessarily at full speed, without full throws. I think if there's a little bit of throwing in there, like the rundowns, that's not a big deal. But you don't want to be doing full throws on the infield. Like, that's why we don't have our pitchers fielding bunts throw, because they have to throw hard and their arms are not loose yet. Then we go to stations, and stations are going to be 1 to 2 minutes each. And these are for our position players. Our pitchers are doing something a little bit different, which I'm going to cover in another web clinic, probably later on this month. But our stations are going to be 1 to 2 minutes each. Again, we're trying to be efficient. And we've got some med ball throws, so we're warming up our rotational movements. We've got arm care, so we've got J bands for them to do. We also have some crossover symmetry that we're using inside because they're put up on the wall in our field house. We've got agility ladders and low hurdles. This station is not agility ladders. I don't think of as a way of developing agility, because agility is a reaction type thing. This is more of a central nervous system stimulant to get them ready for practice. We've got yoga, so they're working on their mobility, their midsection mobility. And then we've got our dynamic warm-ups. So we've got our lunges and twists, our squat jumps, things like that. And what we do are, skips. When we do our dynamic warm-up, we actually do it up a hill behind our batting cage. So our batting cage sets here. There's a little flat zone here. Then we've got a hill right there that they do the dynamic up, so that they can't really cheat, because you can pretty easily cheat some of these if you're on flat ground, but they go up the hill with their dynamics. So, that whole thing takes at most 12 minutes. 2 minutes for the first one and 2 minutes per station. You can shorten it. I think 1:15 to 1:30 with each of these stations is a good number. Might need some more time on arm care, but that's going to be kind of up to you how you want to develop that. Our pitchers are doing more arm care than that right there. So right from there, then we go into base running. And the reason we go into base running before we start throwing is I want us to have focus when we're base running. A lot of times base running gets done at the end of practice, and kids are like, I've already hit, I've already thrown, I've fielded, and now I'm just going to run around the bases and not really pay attention. Our base running is not run a single, run a turn, run a double, run a triple, run a homer. That's not our base running. Yeah, we do teach them how to go through first base breakdown, how to make turns, breakdown. We do teach them those things, okay? But our base running is about read and reacting. So we try to do as much read and reacting as we can. Early in the season, yeah, we're teaching techniques early in the season, right? Like we need to teach them leadoffs. We need to teach them secondary leads. We need to teach them, footwork on dirt balls, steals, things like that. But once we get that stuff set, really it's going to be about reading and reacting. That's what base running really is. You get upset at a player from second base who misreads a flare between the outfielder and the infielder, and either he doesn't get a good break on it and doesn't score, or he breaks and they catch it and double him off. There's a decent chance that is one of the few times he's seen that play all year, if you don't specifically work on that play in practice. All right, so from first base, we're really working on steal starts, hit and runs, and dirt ball reads. Our dirt ball read from first base is really simple. It is ball angle down, go. You see the angle down, ball's going to be in the dirt, we go. Obviously, this is with no runner at second, or if it's not a special situation, like we're down to seventh inning, that kind of thing. But those are primarily what we work on from first base. Second base is where the money's made. I actually did an entire podcast on base running from second base. So if you're on iTunes, you should still be able to find that on there. I think it's in the last 25 or 50 podcasts. So we're working ground ball reads are really important. This is less than 2 outs with no runner on first. That's where they've got their hardest. Tweener reads, so balls that are in between infielders and outfielders. Dirt ball reads, quite different from second base. The distance is a lot shorter for the catcher, and the direction the ball bounces makes a huge difference. Bounces towards third or bounces straight. With an athletic catcher, we're probably holding. Bounces away from first. As I said, I meant third. Bounces towards third or straight, we're holding. Bounces towards first, we're probably going. So the reads are a little bit different there. And then we're working tag plays, letting them know what situations they're tagging in to get to third base on fly balls. Third base, we're working ground ball reads with infield back, with infield in. We're going to be working dirt ball reads for them. And we're also going to be working fly ball tagging reads. And then the biggest one for us that we've found is ground ball reads with infield in, reading choppers, reading squeezes, stuff like that. So that's going to be kind of how we go about running our infield. And we can run almost all these at the exact same time. If you're working on dirt ball reads, put your catchers behind the plate. Coach gets to the mound or short of the mound. And then each player works individually, independently, like there's no one else on base but them. And then they're just reading the ball. So it's going to be a different read from each position, right? I throw a dirt ball. The first guy on first base is taking off for sure. Guy on second base, he's reading the kick. He's getting a little extra secondary and reading the kick. The guy on third base is definitely reading how far it gets from home plate. You can do the same thing with ground balls. You can set up second and third, runner on second. There's no runner on third. Run on third. There's no runner on second. And you just hit fungos, ground balls, and let them read and react to it. Set up for your runner on third. If the infield's in, infield's back. We use POs for that sometimes. They love it when a left-handed PO gets to go out and field some ground balls at shortstop, and hopefully he doesn't hurt himself or anyone around him as he's doing that. But that's kind of how we practice those things. So we're getting actual live reads, not just saying run a single, run a double, run a triple. It's not conditioning for us. It's getting better at base running. After that, we usually do a little water break after that, and then we're going to go into a group catch right after that. So notice they haven't thrown individually yet, right? So they have. It's not like they're warmed up. It's not like they've. So we're going to go right into group catch. Here's the reason I go into group catch, because I think that by putting 5, 6, 7 players in one group, giving them a task to do with one baseball, I think it focuses them a little bit more. I think that it makes them, because if they make a bad throw, the whole thing stops. If they if they don't make if they miss a ball, the whole thing stops. So I think it focuses them and shows them, hey, catch is important. Like when they're playing individual catch a lot of times and the ball gets thrown away, it's like, I got another one in my pocket, and that drives me nuts. They got one in my pocket. We're not allowed to play with a ball in our pocket. But I just want them to be really, really focused on what it is that they're doing that day for the throwing drill. So it can be simple. We have 4 corners catch. That's really simple. It's not far. It's 35, 40 feet. So they're not throwing hard. I do want quick transfers. Transfers are really, really huge for us. We use triangle drills. If you picture a triangle, all the balls are at one corner of the triangle. They'll roll it to their left. The side to their left fields it, throws it to their left. And then the player who receives the ball in the third spot there will usually do a tag and then jog to the line. And then everyone after they throw, so we roll, he follows, throw, he follows, and he jogs back down here. So the ball's back where it started. Really simple drill, but right there we're working on a tag, we're working on a transfer, we're working on fielding and 2-step, 4-step footwork. All things that we don't necessarily need to work on a ton and focus on a ton in practice after that. We're getting it done right now in this fast-paced drill. Triangle redirects is another good one. So coach is going to be, you form a triangle with your team. So you got a player here, player here, player here. Coach is going to be right down here. Coach has a basket of balls. There's an empty bucket behind the line that's up here. Coach throws the ball up. He says either left or right as he throws it, and then the player is going to throw the ball to that other line, and then we get a tag down here, and those two just switch. It just helping them work on transfers and redirecting balls and tags, and you can do anything you want with your side guys there. Maybe they're working on tags one day, maybe they're working on relays one day. They can do anything they want with that side there. Rhythm catch is another good one. It's not quick hands. It's meeting the ball with your glove foot, heel to heel, and then getting rid of it in a not quick, but in a good time. And this is one that, they can be close. They're not throwing real hard here. This is their initial part of their throwing, remember. So they're not throwing really hard here. I really like that one. Or rundown catch, which we kind of talked about a little bit, that we do sometimes as our initial segment. Sometimes we do it as our group segment, but I do like that one as well. So then we move on to individual catch. It's not just a warm-up, so we don't say, hey, go warm your arms up. It is not a drill. It is a series. It is a series of drills. So it's really important that coaches are out there with their players overseeing this segment of practice. And then what I've done in the past is, because sometimes on game day, we do this pre-game, we do this pre-practice. Some days on game day, I'm taking care of administrative things. I'm in the dugout. I'm with our pitcher. I'm with our catcher. I'm with some hitters. I'm with, but what I do is I always have a couple seniors who are really good at running the infield portion of this, the outfield portion of this. And then as one of your bonuses, what we're going to do today is we're going to go into Cornerstone Elite. I'm going to show you the video of this so that you can actually see what this looks like. It's me and one of our assistant coaches showing you, but it's not, so it's not our actual team, but it's all the drills we do with our infielders in this segment. So that's going to be one of our bonuses here. We will go inside Cornerstone Elite. Before we do that though, I do want to make sure that you know about our web clinic special. I'm leaving a link to this right below. It's going to be open for the next 2 days. And that is, you buy 1 month of Cornerstone Elite, you get 2 months free. And then it'll be just $19 per month after that. Again, Cornerstone Elite, we're going to take a little peek inside here so I can show you what this looks like, what our infield throwing looks like. But it's got everything you need to run a team, whether you're a travel ball, whether you're youth, whether you're high school, small college. We have members from all those different levels there. And I think the thing that they really appreciate is that no matter what it is that they're trying to do, trying to improve, there's something in there. There's a program in there for them for that. If it's bat speed, it's in there. If you're looking for daily infield drills, it's in there. A daily arm care drills, it's in there. If you're looking for your hitting drills, that are chaos hitting drills or hitting rotations, things that you can set up in your batting practice to focus on specific areas, it's in there. Our most popular course right now by far is our recognizing, diagnosing, and fixing common hitting flaws. It takes you step by step through running an assessment with your hitters, and then it's going to give you exactly the drills you need to do to improve their weaknesses. So it goes step by step through the weaknesses you may find through that assessment, talks about them, how to identify them, and then how to fix them also. So that link is right below there. That is going to be open for 2 days after this, that special right there. Buy 1 month, get 2 months free of Cornerstone Elite. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look inside of Cornerstone Elite. Give me just 1 second here to move things around. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick look here inside of Cornerstone Elite so that I can get you all set up so you can see exactly where this will be when you get into Elite. So real quick here, our forums are right there. Table of contents is searchable, so anything that you need to look for in here, you certainly have access to that. New video and audio tips I put right here, right at the front. So about every week I put some new information out there for you. All the archived ones are right there. What we want to look at today is we want to go down into our infield segment right here, and we are going to take a look at our individual throwing for our infielders. So right here we've got our 6 infield rotations. Those have been wildly popular with our members. My internet's running just a little bit slow right now. Another reason why I've decided to do this one as a recorded webinar, because I have not been getting very good luck with, not been having very good luck with our internet. All right, so right here, this is our pre-infield, pre-practice and pre-game progression for our infielders. We're going to take a quick look at that one once my internet catches up here. Just doing a quick check on my modem to make sure that I actually do have internet, and I do. All right. So our first one is just a 10 toes with quick separation. So to me, a really, really important aspect of catch is not necessarily just the throwing, but it's also the transfer, because the transfer a lot of times is where things go wrong. And I don't think we spend enough time in our practices looking at that transfer. So that's our 10 toes quick. Next one is going to be reach out, rock back with quick separation. We're starting with ball in the glove here. Again, so I get that transfer. Let's see, Sammy transfers there. We rock back and throw. I'm going to transfer as well. Reach out, rock back, throw. So this is if I'm catching. Maybe I have to make a one-handed catch and then get a transfer in as well. So that's our next drill that we do with our infielders. Okay, next we have a single side shuffle with a quick transfer. All right, so in everything we do, the thrower is doing something and the receiving person is doing something. So right here, we've just got single quick shuffle, working that two-step footwork. Okay, and then as we're receiving, we're going to be doing a quick transfer out of the glove. Okay, so I've got single side shuffle and a quick transfer right there. Go ahead and scoot forward a little bit. All right, next one, this is that rhythm catch I was talking about. 3 different paces we can do this at. We can do it at slow, we can do it at medium, we can do it at fast. Okay, so it's not quick hands, it's rhythm catch. We want to throw and catch in rhythm. This is our slow section right there. Okay, and then as we go on, we pick it up a little bit. We've got a medium speed, and then we've got a fast speed as we really get into it. Okay. Next one is our 4-step footwork from our thrower working on tag on receiving. So I'm in a fielding position there. Okay. Sammy forgot to tag, and I just reminded him. You can see that there. So he's going to put ball in glove, get down to fielding position. He's got 4-step footwork, field, and then we work on tag on that side. So it's something that you may not work on very often in practice, but now you're getting that opportunity to in the game. I think this one here is our 2-step. Is that 2-step? There's our 2-step footwork, and we're working on a first base stretch. Even for people who aren't first basemen, you still might need that. Okay, so I got 2-step footwork, working on stretch and catch. All right, backhand right foot, and then we're working on a relay on the other side. All right, so you can see Sammy's working on his relay footwork there. He's getting to backhand, he fields, throws to me. I'm working on a relay there. All right, I get to my backhand position, 1 shuffle, throw, and he's working on his relay on that side. Backhand footwork with a closed backhand. So now I've got to where I get to it and I have my left foot out, which is a really difficult play if that happens. And then you can see we're doing that little drop step and we're working on a tag here. So I get to my left foot out. That was hard for me to even think about. And then we get to that drop step there. Okay, where did we go next here? Oh, clock drill with quick separation. My players love this one. All right, so they were working on changing a variety of different arm angles. Okay, so if you picture a clock, we've got 10 o'clock, we've got 9 o'clock, we've got 8 o'clock, we've got 7 o'clock. So I'm kind of giving you the rundown here. That's 9 o'clock throw. We got a quick separation. I am able to throw from a lot more arm angles. Sam's a little bit more over the top. I'm a little bit more 3/4. You see he's getting down there a little bit. And as we're going through each of these progressions, we're putting more and more weight on our throwing foot. And I'll probably, as I get to 7 o'clock here, might even have my foot come off the ground. But these are all different positions that your infielders may find themselves in. And you know, you yell at them, you're like, why did you throw when your feet weren't set and you didn't have a good arm angle? And it's like, well, if we worked on it in practice, they'd be able to do it. There's the 6 o'clock one, which is kind of silly. Next one, run at, throwing foot, off throwing foot with a double play turn. So I'm going to run at him, throw off my throwing foot, and then he's got a double play turn on the other side. He's going to run at me and double play turn on the other side. Quarterback drop step, straight back with a tag. Players like this one as well. They're going to hit that back foot, take 1 shuffle back towards their target and throw, and then we're working again something on the other side there. We've got tag. Up step, 1 shuffle forward. Sammy got 2 there. That's all right. Quarterbacks roll right and left with tag. Again, working on throwing on the run, something we don't often work on with our players. But then when they get in the game, we either expect them to be able to do it or we don't want them to do it at all. And to me, I would rather work on it, have it in their toolbox, and know either they can or can't do it. All right, so one more of these here, and we're working on tag. Okay, this one's the real tough one, especially for right-handers. Roll left and throw. Okay, if they can do this, they can probably do just about anything, any throw they'll need to make on the infield, working on tag on the other end as well. Okay, run away, throw into back pedal with a cutoff on the other end. So I'm running away. I throw into a back pedal, and he's working on a cutoff there. So this is literally what we do every single day. I'm either running this or one of my assistants is running it or one of our seniors is running it. I like to get there when I can. So last one, long toss to tolerance. You can do it before or after that program. I don't think that's a big deal. But you can certainly, we do long toss to tolerance after that. All right. So there's a little bit about what we do in our pregame. I do have one more bonus for you here. And so make sure you stick around till the end to get that. I am going to show you just a couple more things inside of Cornerstone Elite here. Before we wrap this up and get back to it. Remember, if you have any questions, either about infield practice or maybe it's going to be about what's inside Cornerstone Elite, feel free to ask me. You can just enter it in that form down there. I'm monitoring my email during this time. Might be able to get you a quick recording. So our elite offense and hitting section, one of the things that people love in here are our chaos hitting drills. This is our recognizing, diagnosing, and fixing common hitting flaws. Shows you how to run a hitting assessment, shows you how to use Blast Tool as a tool for training and assessment, and then goes through all these hitting flaws here: lack of bat speed, lack of quickness, poor sequencing, poor load, poor attack angle, poor pitch recognition, poor timing, poor barrel control, and poor vertical bat angle. Goes through all those and shows you exactly how to identify it and then also how to fix it with your players. Our chaos hitting drills is definitely one that our coaches love as well. I know this is an infield one, but if you're a head coach, most of us end up coaching a whole bunch of different things. We're not just like it's not like football coaches where you're a linebackers coach or a wide receivers coach. Like I'm the infield coach, the hitting coach, the base running coach, and do a lot of things. So our chaos hitting drills here, video is right with them. Sorry, the internet's running really slow for me. Gives you the drill, shows you exactly how to do it. And then I have voiceover video for each of our drills. And I think we're up to 50 some of these cast hitting drills just to make your practices a little bit more game-like. So I'm going to go ahead and close out a Cornerstone Elite. Again, if you have any questions on anything that you see in here, please do not hesitate to ask, or if you want to ask a question about the topic for today's web clinic, certainly do that. Again, that form is right below here, along with the special offer for Cornerstone Elite. All right, let me go ahead and close out of this. Okay. And we're going to go back into our share here. Okay. So we've done that. We've looked at our individual catch segment there. Again, one more time, just a little bit about what you'll find in Cornerstone Elite. You can get 3 months for the price of 1. We're going to get bigger, stronger, faster players, batting practices that produce aggressive decision makers in the box. We're going to improve bat speed. One of the things that our coaches really like is I've pre-done a ton of practice plans for you, but there's specifically 10 of them that if you go through and take the topics of those, you're never going to miss something that you need to work on with your team. What happened to me a few years ago was we got beat in a big situation on a first and third defense. And, I looked back and I was like, hey, we hadn't practiced that in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And so then I created this practice plan loop so that I could make sure I had practice first and third, bunt defenses, everything like that every week or so it would fresh my players' minds. All right, quick review of what we did today. We're going to warm up with a baseball, practice something. If you don't like the ones we put out here, that's fine. Practice something. We're going to put stations together that improve something important to baseball. Yoga increases your mobility. Med balls increase your rotational power, warm that up. Your arm care is going to make sure you're healthy. You got arm healthy. Base running, we're going to make sure we do that with decision making. We're going to do that next so that players are focused. It is not conditioning. It is base running. It's making decisions. It is making reads. It is learning technique. Group catch, we're going to do that next. And then we have individual catch as a series of drills, which I just showed you. Again, our special web clinic today, only for the next 48 hours. Join Cornerstone Elite. 3 months for the price of one. And then you can get, through that, you get practical help bring player development into the team setting. So I did want to say thank you for sticking around till the end. I am going to, there is a link down there to a special gift on one of our infield rotations that you saw in Cornerstone Elite. We do have 6 of them. I developed them last year because we had a day at camp when we had like 50 some players coming through our camp, like 50 some high school players. And we normally had a staff of 4, and we were literally down to 2. And so what I did was I developed these hitting these infield rotations so that we could be productive working on something with just one coach. And I was able to get almost 30 players in these infield rotations at once. So there's one for you down there. If you go to bit.ly/I, capital F, capital R in rotation 1, and you can get access to one of our infield rotations. So I do want to say thanks again. If you have any questions, drop them in that form. Drop me in that form down there. I'm monitoring my email as this goes, so I can get any questions answered that you have either on the topic for today, what it might look like with your individual team, and then you can also. And then you can also ask me any questions you have about Cornerstone Elite if you're ready to make that jump. A lot of good stuff going on in there. Just had a lot of new members join. A really good Q&A actually on infield this past week. So I do want to say thanks again. Make sure you check out the podcast. Check out Cornerstone Elite. Have a wonderful week. Ask me a question down there. Have a wonderful week and never stop learning.